Hello everyone, today we're back with episode 21 of our ComputerCraft series. Today we are going to repair our mining script, doing some extensive testing in our base for mining the long distances. I have noticed that there are some problems with our turtle script, so that's what I'm hopefully going to resolve in this episode. There are about 5 things that I want to address, of which one is less important since you have to go to some extreme conditions to. Without further ado, let's pick our script hand. So here we are again with our rusty script that we have made in the last 20 episodes or so. And I've noticed a few things. I will go through them right now. Sometimes it can happen that if the turtle tries to place a chest, mainly above him, so an ender chest, that something is blocking that, for example an entity or a monster or anything, then it doesn't get placed, but it still tries to spit out its items, which is a waste of items. And if you have a lot of turtles, that can cause some lag on your world/server. Then there is some weird issue on line 235. It has something to do with, I think, placing an item, but we will look into that. Also, if we move forward to a next layer to mine, then that can be blocked by gravel. Also, we need to fix that an ender chest cannot be used to place to remove liquids. That is at the moment quite a waste. If our turtle is sent to a mission with a really big height, then it can happen that it actually runs out of fuel. Also, if gravel falls on top of the turtle, it will break. That's nice, but that gravel or sand, in case where I noticed it, it doesn't get sucked up or anything, and it is wasted. So those are the things that I want to fix during this episode. Hopefully we have enough time for that, and if we don't, then we will do that in the next episode. So without further ado, let's start with the first one, which is by far the easiest, I think. That is to verify if a chest is placed when dropping off items. This is the check inventory. So if config use chest is true or is ender, then if it is it is not the correct function, find modem, find drive. You can see that I've done some wireless stuff in the meantime, but more about that on a later episode. Add device, send information, convert, store item. This is the function I was looking for. So we check if there is an item in last slot. Last slot is currently slot 14, which is this one. That's all right. And if it's is set to use a chest, that's pretty much what this is doing. Then we need to select this slot, that's all right. And here is the catch. So how are we going to fix this? I assume that this does return a true or a false. And I will actually look that up on the wiki real quick. There's some information about it on the wiki. Here we have what we were looking for. So if chests are in use, then we'll check if it is ender or ender with a capital E, just to keep it a bit easier to use. Then it will select slot, that's correct, and turtle place up will actually return true or false, corresponding that to if it worked or if it didn't work. So we can make use of that. So while this is What shall we do? While this is false, so if it didn't work, do something. We are actually going to try two things. Two things could have happened. One is that it can have an enemy above him. So we can attack up. Attack up, and double T. But it can also happen that gravel has fallen on top of it, on which we can use, I think, just dig up. That might actually be the easiest one. And to dig up, we are just going to use dig up, since we did make a function for that. We just didn't really specify much in that, but we can use it. So let's do that here. And this should, if the turtle that plays up didn't work, it will attack up, which is most likely the case that is needed, or it will try to dig up, and after that it will try to place again. And we need this to be not. This needs to be happening when it is false. It's kind of the inverted what we need. So this is happening with the ender chest, as we see up here. I see a slime coming our way. This obviously doesn't happen when we are digging down or a normal chest, since we are always above the bedrock limit. And yeah, there cannot be any entity or anything below it. Maybe a spider in a really weird situation. That's not really realistic. So that is our first problem solved. Now we need to go to line 235, which is not so far away, which is actually here. Oh, that has changed, of course, a little bit now. How many lines did we add? Oh, I did add quite a lot. That's kind of the thing when you test stuff, but not enough. So you only see it like once or twice. Then you add something in your script and you're kind of lost what really happened. But I did write some stuff down, and I can see that it's actually something with the select option. We can highlight select and see where that has been, somewhere around here. Which is a slot which is inside of a for loop. It says it's slot 17, and I cannot think of why I would select slot 17. For a turtle, since there is no way that would make sense. Let's scroll through our code, which one that can be. This one is in the config file, so that would happen always. I do know that it's actually slot 15 in config, so this should be alright. Last slot is 14, so this function will never get above 16. Oh, no, never above 14, so this one cannot be it. Same is true here. The 16, that's 1. Get selected slots. Which line is this? This can be where it is going wrong. As for example, if we just reviewed a moment ago, just some situation, which would mean that yeah, that could be it actually. So if it did refuel, then it is most likely in slot 16, and now it tries to select slot 16 plus 1, which is 17. This one can be it. Let's make sure. No, this nothing else. So what is really happening here? Digging forward, we're filling a hole, it's empty. No more. We'll move to the next slot. I made a typo here. Next slot item can be excluded 15 and 16. Apparently that's not excluded if it is on slot 15 or 16 when it starts. Would also explain why it is placing ender chests. So that can be two things which are happening at the moment. So let's make an if statement. If it's already a problem if it is 14. 13 is safe. It must be 12 or lower. The nicest way to do this. Let me think. Even I've palmed it off. So if n is smaller than, let's say, 13, then select n plus 1, and if it is 13, then it needs to break this for loop, since then there's apparently no item that it can place within its first 13 slots. I think that will do it. Let's actually introduce a local variable here. We'll call final slot equals 13 in this case. So we can actually make this a bit more variable. Final slot, and this should also be final slot. So I think that was what was happening. Which will also solve our problem with the ender chest being placed. I think. Only one way to find out, of course. Then there is some problem in our digging mining section, which is that it will just use the normal turtle.dig and the forward function. Let's see how our forward function looks like. It will go forward, and if it is false, then it will just sleep and do nothing. Okay, that's most likely where our problem lies. Let's add, do we have a dig function? I think we do. Of course, we just added that one. Dig, and let's make that more specific. Grave.dig. So we do know for sure that this is actually happening. Let's see if that makes some stuff redundant. I only see a forward here. See if it doesn't come back anywhere else. Okay. Looks good to me. I think that would solve it. So if this isn't happening, let's see if we did it messed up. So if it is not able to move forward, this will be false. This will be equal to false. So this statement will be true, and this loop will keep going. I think 1 second of a sleep is a bit long here. But it will definitely not hurt the process that much. Then we have something that we need to check at the very beginning, which is that it can happen if a turtle goes for example, in our config, we set it to 85. That's actually what I have been testing for the last day or so. And I've noticed that the turtle just stops midair. And it is still able to mine stuff down or below him, just like it would normally. But there's no way to get any kind of life into it anymore. And I think that's happening because it doesn't refuel during our mining section. You see, it will only check for fuel at the very beginning and never again. Of course, at the next section it will start. When the fuel is above a certain threshold, which is, if we can find our refuel function, if it is above 100, it will just start. If your height is above 50, so half of that, it will still start, but it will run out of fuel when it is somewhere on the way down. That can happen. I have seen that it happened. So we can do two things. One thing is that we can increase the minimum amount of fuel. In my opinion, that would be a waste of a lot of fuel. I rather check if there is enough fuel in our selected slot. And we can do that relatively simple. And it is by making a check that if we first need to find out how much fuel units our fuel is actually providing. Well, a coal block does provide a lot. For example, a fence, which can be used, will hardly give any fuel. Then we need to calculate how high it has to go and how many pieces of fuel it needs to burn to have enough fuel in it. So there are quite a few things that we have to consider right now. I think the easiest one is that we are first going to write something that will find out how much fuel is actually in our fuel block. And that should be relatively easy, since we can get our initial measurement, use one item and get a second value. We can compare that. Then we can return how much it actually is providing to us. The function check fuel units given. It's a bit work, but it will work hopefully. And let's see our config file. I think we can actually use fuel slot in here. Would be neat. Fuel slot equals 16, so we can change that later. So that will be config.fuel slot. That's the slot for our fuel. Turtle.select this slot. So that's at least where it is at that stage. Then we will have our first measurement. Let's make two variables. We'll call old and new. Let's do it actually separately. Why not? Go to 0. Then this does only need to happen, I think, if the height that we are actually doing is below or above, let's say 20 or so. If it's below 20, I haven't seen this thing occurring at all. As that would also be saved on our minimum fuel level. Technically, we can use 50 for it, but I think to keep some safety margin, or we can do it for 40. Let's do it for 40. So if config.height is bigger than 40, then do all of this. If it is smaller, then we don't really care. It will be going all right anyway. So select this, then old equals total.refuel 1, and new equals, oh, I made a mistake here. That will just equal to true, hopefully. This will be turtle.getFuel level. In between here we need to refuel one item. Then we need to get the fuel level again. And then eventually we have two units here. We'll call units equals 0, and here units equal the difference equals new minus old return. So this should, in theory, check first of all if this is all needed, since it does require a little bit of time. It's only at startup, so it's not the end of the world. Then it will select the fuel slot, which we specified in the config file. It will get its fuel level before refuel, so it does one refuel. Then it will get it again. New minus old will be the units that are given. This should be all right. So in our Lua, part of our double L, part of our setup will be, how did we call it? Was it the most easiest name? Check fuel units given. Okay. Check fuel units given. Yeah, that's really that. Check your fuel units given. And that will be some value. And if this is smaller than what? Smaller than what will be useful here. So this must be smaller than, I think, the height. Double the height. That would be all right. I think. Config height times 2. Then I'm not sure if we can do it in this way. If it is smaller than that, then we just arrow out of the code. Pick better. Well, let's see if this works at all. I'm a bit curious if it will work. Should work. That's actually pick a really bad fuel source. Sticks should do. I think these are the worst items fuel wise. Let's do 2. Something happened. But this is not possible. Okay. At least we know that. Let's do that now with some variables. Local fuel units equals 0 for now. Local double height equals 0. So this is going to be, select this, also C then. This is going to be fuel units, equals this. Then this can be included up here, I think. It's a kind of declaration. So then we have fuel units, and then we have double height here. Let's see if it runs this time. It's still not running. Attempt to compare LT. Okay. On nil and number. So the number is correct. This is correct. This is just returning a nil. Why is it returning a nil? Of course, since in our config file the height isn't 40 and at the moment. But this doesn't return anything in this situation. We can actually do this different and pull that double height inside just to make it a bit more general. These two can go out there. They can come in here. And that entire if statement can get in here. So all of this will return nothing yet. Then we have this line that we still need. Copy over to here. Let's put this actually on one line. Why didn't we do that in the first place actually? Save another line. So there we have that this only needs to be run. You can actually do this different. You can actually give this a green or red light, return true or false. If it is all right to start, you don't really need anything else. So units is not that interesting. Let's rewrite this a little bit. You need to get units anyway, I think. Yeah, then this more can be used more generally. This and can go then. So if fuel units, which is just units in this case, because this is actually redundant. If units is smaller than double height, which is standing here, make it a little bit more easier to read. So if that is this, and it will just error out of the code. We don't need anything to return to this, and it will just work on its own, I believe. Part of the setup loop, so this can happen. Let's see what's happening right now. A bad argument. Number expected got nil. In brief, interesting. On an earlier moment. Right here, apparently. Number expected got nil. Fuel slot. Oh, it's a small s. That doesn't make sense. Let's make a big S here. Does at least mean that it gets past that point. Okay. Attempt to compare nil and number. So it's back to square one, basically. It did at least its first refuel. I assume it did its second. And okay. Oops, typo. Once again. Big battle fuel. So that seems to be doing something. Let's see if we place a call block here, that it will just work. And starts as if nothing has changed. That's good, so that's exactly what we wanted to see. Nice. So that has been resolved. And I think with that, except for one small thing, which is sucking up items above the turtle, is something that we will do next time. I think for today we did enough progress, we resolved more than enough issues, updated the code, and our turtle is happily doing its job once again. Yeah, I think that is enough for today. So have a good day, night, evening, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.